The opening of Kai Tak Sports Park this year will generate opportunities for the growth of Hong Kong football, while the city's representative team is aiming to build on a promising 2024, which they finished with 6 straight victories under head coach Ashley Westwood. Joining us to discuss a number of subjects about football in the city is the chairman of the Football Association of Hong Kong, China, Eric Fok. Hi Eric, thank you very much for joining us today.
Hi Paul, thank you for having me today.
First thing to talk about, we'll start on a positive topic. Kai Tak Sports Park is going to be a bit of a game changer in terms of its ability to attract major clubs to the city. So what part will the FA, or what role will the FA have in being able to try to bring these clubs to Hong Kong?
Well, I think Hong Kong has always been a very competitive open market. At the same time, I think Hong Kong, in terms of the football or sports so-called ecosystem, I think that we have a very good international city, but the bottleneck is always venue, as we always exchange ideas. So in terms of venue, I think that now we have all existing venue beforehand was government-owned, ran by LCSD, including the Hong Kong Stadium, Mong Kok Stadium. Going forward, which is probably one of your main themes, is Kai Tak opening this year. So that allows Hong Kong to have a world-class stadium that is best in Hong Kong and also internationally recognized. And secondly is that because of the seating capacity, it's bigger than the existing Hong Kong stadium. So this would allow larger scale matches and more interest to come to Hong Kong. And I think this is part of the government's initiative. And going forward, I think that we can actually make use of this and see how our Hong Kong China representative can also play a bigger role in terms of rallying up the team and the fans and giving people more than just a 90-minute football match.
How close are we to confirming which matches will happen here this summer? And I presume you can't confirm any of them sitting here right now.
Well, I think that what I can tell is that we're having a large interest from various European clubs coming to Hong Kong through the summer. Secondly, they are all applied and submitted through a sports agency right now. So it's very promising to see this interest. And I think going forward, it has to be coordinated with the government and Kai Tak. But we are positive to work together on this, and hopefully our aim is to bring more quality football matches to Hong Kong and the fans.
And I appreciate growing the Hong Kong Premier League is a huge challenge. And one of the FA strategic goals of their Vision 2025, which was released in June 2020, was to establish an improving and independently operated top men's professional league with stable teams. So what have been the barriers to achieving that in the 4.5 years since?
I think the biggest obstacle was COVID.
Right, okay.
Because COVID really stopped, I think, not just football, the league, but all activities in Hong Kong. So the COVID was a very difficult times for all sports, because as you mentioned, live sports and balancing the hygiene was very important, and safety is the top priority to protect our athletes and our fans. So that was, I think that was a global pandemic. But that aside, I think the Premier League itself, the way I see it is that the most important first step is to grow the football population. We need to have a large base in order to develop. So right now, football as a whole, I think that we see this momentum. I think led by the Hong Kong China representative team, is proven in the AAFF that they are very supportive, and we're having this growing fan base, and we're trying to groom them more. And I think that by doing that, I hope and I believe that this fan base will get larger, and they are supportive of local football. So I hope that and we can actually work together and say not just our representative team, but how do we bring this momentum into the local league? So the first part is growing the football population. So I think that is something that we are developing. Secondly, you need to have a good product. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, football is all about the players. So FA is actually promoting Hong Kong football development. So I think that we have a development plan, and it starts from the youth through the career path, and the end goal is to create a clear, professional, long-term, sustainable development path, so that their goal and their dream is to play for the Hong Kong China representative team.
Just back on the local Premier League, Philip Chan, who's the current Hong Kong Footballer of the Year, he is an advocate for legalising gambling on the local game as a way of generating more interest. So what is the FA's stance on that?
I think this is something has been discussing in the sector for quite a while. I think there's different opinions, but globally, this is a global trend, I think. So I think that we have to look at the Hong Kong's actual environment, but at the same time understand where is global football going forward. I think all development and the plans that we share, they all need resources. So we are also looking at what is the best way to create the right resources to support the development plan. This is a conversation that the sports sector has brought up in terms of my consultation paper last year that I did, including their demands. And one of the conversations that came out was exactly this topic that you mentioned. I think in terms of the sports sector, or in the football sector, there are a lot of people that has brought this up and have expressed that they support this. But at the same time, it's very important to understand the community and Hong Kong as a whole on how this fits in and how this is regulated if it happens. So I think that it's very important that it's good to have this conversation, but more importantly is by doing this, it will definitely help the sports sector having more resources and less reliance on other so-called funding. But at the same time, by helping development, we also have to consider the overall impact on the community and society rather than just looking at football itself.
Okay, so it's something that's under consideration but not imminent. Would that be fair to say so? Not
because I think we have to be very cautious and sensitive. I think this is something that has been discussed, but right now it's just in a discussion phase. Yeah.
Okay, and just the last one on the local league. One of the other barriers to growing it is probably a lack of trust in it at times, because there's been match fixing issues in the Hong Kong Premier League and in the lower leagues as well. And as recently as May, there were 12 people arrested on match fixing charges, weren't there? So what are the challenges in terms of trying to stamp that out, and how confident are you that it has now been eradicated from the Hong Kong Premier League?
Okay. I think our FA stand on this is zero tolerance. We are very clear on this and we are very hard on this. I think what we have done is we have been educating the football sector through programs, through working closely with the clubs and players. Secondly, we have also put in a mechanism in place so that there is currently a so-called surveillance system that is actually conducted by FA, and we're using FIFA recognized, globally recognized so-called monitoring system. And this is actually in place for all leagues right now. So once these data are collected after the matches, the surveillance system would actually alert FA if there's any so-called unstable behavior. And once if this red flag gets alert, the FA would actually provide these data and evidence to the relevant departments, including the ICAC. So this is a system that we've set up, and we'll continue to clamp down on this. So for us, we would like to continue to educate and have a system in place to clean this out, and hopefully going forward, players will be less encouraged at the same time clean this out. So this is what we're doing right now.
Are you confident that it's 100% clean at the moment, or is that too difficult to say?
I think this is beyond our control because what we've done is we have a program and we have a system to prevent this happening. So our attitude is more like we have zero tolerance, but if you do challenge the system, you will be identified and you will have consequences.
Thank you, Eric. You can learn more about our full conversation from the text report on scmp.com.